Have you ever stood in the middle of a crowded, neon-lit street and felt an overwhelming sense of nostalgia for a place you've never been and a time you've never lived, as if your soul is a seasoned traveler currently wearing a costume that is far too small and far too new? This peculiar, quiet ache in your chest is the hallmark of the old soul burden, a psychological and spiritual phenomenon where your internal frequency is set to a much deeper, slower vibration than the frantic world around you, making you feel like a centenarian trapped in a youthful frame. It is a feeling of being out of sync with your generation, where the things that excite your peers, the fleeting trends, the digital noise, the surface level pursuits, feel like empty echoes to you, leaving you to wonder if you were simply born in the wrong era or if you've lived 1,000 lives before this one. If you have ever felt the weight of unspoken wisdom pressing against your ribs, or if you find more comfort in the silence of a library than the roar of a party, then you understand that being an old soul is not a romantic, poetic concept, but a heavy, often lonely reality that shapes every interaction of your life. You carry a sense of exhaustion that isn't fixed by a good night's sleep. It is a weariness of the world, a deep-seated recognition of the patterns of human nature that makes you feel as though you've seen this movie before, and you already know how it ends. This is the Barnum Effect in its most profound form. That feeling that these general truths are speaking directly to the secret corners of your heart. Because the truth is, while many claim to be old souls, few actually carry the burden of the observer, the one who sees the masks people wear and the hollow scripts they follow. You likely found yourself at the adult table during childhood, not because you were precocious or seeking attention, but because the conversations of your own age group felt like a foreign language of triviality that you couldn't quite master. You possessed an early, almost haunting empathy, the kind that allowed you to feel the hidden sadness in your parents, or the unspoken tension in a room, a gift that turned you into an unpaid therapist before you even understood what psychology was. This early maturation means you skip the blissful ignorance phase of life. And now, as you navigate your 20s or 30s, you feel a profound detachment from the hustle culture and the desperate need for external validation that drives modern society. You are a person of depth in a world that is increasingly shallow, a person who craves the eternal in a world obsessed with the ephemeral. You might find that you have a high-frequency brain that never truly shuts down, constantly analyzing the why behind every action, every social norm, and every existential question, which leads to a unique form of social exhaustion, where even an hour of small talk feels like a marathon of the soul. You value authenticity above all else, and you can sense a lie or a facade from a mile away, not because you are cynical, but because your intuition is an ancient compass that has been calibrated by experiences you can't quite name. This burden often manifests as a deep existential loneliness, a feeling that you are a bridge between two worlds, the old world of substance, silence, and slow-grown wisdom, and the new world of speed, spectacle, and digital shadows. You look at the sky and feel a pull toward the infinite, and you look at your phone and feel a push toward the trivial. This internal tug of war is why you often feel heavier than those around you. You are carrying the lessons of ancestors you never met and the dreams of a future that feels increasingly fragile. People likely describe you as grounded or stoic, but they don't see the turbulent ocean of thought beneath the surface, the way you mourn the loss of things that others don't even realize are missing, like the art of deep listening or the sanctity of a promise. You are drawn to the old ways, the tactile feel of a physical book, the crackle of a vinyl record, the slow process of building something with your hands, not because you are a contrarian, but because these things have a weight that matches your own. You often feel like a ghost haunting your own timeline, watching your peers chase after success with a frantic energy that you simply cannot replicate because you know that the ladder they are climbing is leaning against a wall that will eventually crumble. This foresight is a curse in a culture that rewards the short term, as you are often the one who sees the disaster coming, the heartbreak approaching, or the futility of a trend long before anyone else. But despite this heaviness, there is a secret philosophical beauty in being an old soul. You have the rare ability to find peace in the mundane, to see the miraculous in the ordinary, and to feel a connection to the entire human story that transcends your individual life. You understand that time is not a straight line, but a circle, and that the struggles we face today are the same struggles humans have faced since the beginning of consciousness. This perspective allows you to remain calm in the midst of chaos, to be the still point in a turning world. Though the cost of that stillness is the feeling that you are never quite at home in the present moment. You might suffer from a specific kind of nostalgia called animoia, nostalgia for a time you've never known, which is your soul's way of reminding you that your roots go much deeper than your birth certificate suggests. You are likely a mirror, reflecting back to people their own truths, which makes some people love you for your clarity and others hate you because they aren't ready to see what you see. The burden of the old soul is the burden of responsibility. You feel a duty to protect the light of truth, to offer a hand to those who are lost in the shallow end of life, and to maintain your integrity in a world that treats morality like a fashion statement. You have likely experienced social discernment, the ability to sense the energy of a room or a person instantly, which often leads to you being labeled as picky or introverted, when in reality, you are simply protecting your ancient, sensitive heart from the discord of the world. You find that your best friends are often decades older than you, or perhaps they are animals or the trees in your backyard, because nature and age share the same frequency of being that you possess. You are wired for the long game, and while this makes the daily grind feel agonizingly slow and pointless, it also means that you are building a life of substance that will stand the test of time. You must learn to forgive yourself for not fitting in, for not having the same energy for the nightlife or the latest craze, and for needing vast amounts of solitude to recharge your spirit. Your solitude is not a sign of depression, but a necessity for your mental architecture. It is the only time the noise of the world stops long enough for you to hear the whispers of your own ancient wisdom. You are a repository of human history, a living testament to the fact that some things, love, grief, wonder, and the search for meaning, are timeless. As you walk through this life, feeling 100 years old, remember that you are a sentinel for the soul, a reminder to everyone you meet that there is a depth beneath the surface, if only they would stop running long enough to see it. Your burden is actually a lighthouse, and though the light can be heavy to carry, it is the only thing that will guide us through the fog of the modern age. You are not broken, you are not weird, and you are certainly not alone. You are simply an old spirit who has returned to help us remember what it means to truly be human. When the weight feels like too much, look at the stars or the ancient mountains and realize that they are your peers. They are the ones who understand your timeline. Your body is young, yes, but your eyes have seen the dawn of civilizations, and your heart has felt the pulse of the universe since the very beginning. Stay true to that inner depth, even when the world demands that you be shallow, and trust that your old soul was chosen for this specific time because the world has never needed your ancient, quiet, and empathetic wisdom more than it does right now. You are the quiet in the noise, the anchor in the storm, and the living proof that the soul does not age, it only deepens. And your 100-year-old perspective is the greatest gift you can offer to a world that is just beginning to learn how to see. Continue to walk your path with that gentle, heavy grace, for you are the bridge that connects the wisdom of the past with the possibilities of the future. And that is a legacy that no youthful trend can ever touch. Believe in the validity of your feelings, the reality of your weariness, and the power of your perspective. For you are an old soul in a young world, and that is a magnificent, if burdensome, truth to inhabit.